Once upon a time, in a quiet village surrounded by dry fields, there lived an old farmer. For nearly 20 years, his only companion was an aging donkey. Together, they shared the weight of a lifetime. In his youth, the donkey worked 10 hours a day under the hot sun without a single complaint. He carried massive stones and heavy sacks from faraway places all on his own. No one had to lead him, but time is a heavy load that breaks every back. Now the donkey's legs trembled under the slightest weight. He was slow and his breathing was heavy. One evening, the neighbors blocked their path. "He is a burden now, old man," one shouted. "Get rid of him." Another pointed at the animal. "He is old and useless. Sell him to the butcher." The farmer tightened his grip on the rope, his voice shaking with emotion. "He is my companion who stood by my side in hard times. How can I betray him now?" A few days later, while searching for a patch of grass near the edge of the woods, the old donkey wandered near an abandoned well. It had been dry for decades, its mouth hidden by thick weeds. The donkey stepped too close. The ground gave way beneath his hooves, and with a terrified cry, he slipped down into the deep, dark pit. The farmer heard the desperate braying from his field and came running. When he looked over the edge, his heart sank. Far down in the narrow darkness, the donkey stood shaking, his eyes wide with fear. He ran back to his hut, grabbed his thickest rope, and threw it down. He tried to pull the animal up, but the well was too narrow, and his old shoulders lacked the strength. He pulled until his hands turned raw, but the donkey didn't move. Desperate, the farmer called the neighbors. They brought poles, shovels, and more ropes. For hours, the men strained and yelled, trying every trick they knew. But every time they pulled, the loose stone walls of the well crumbled, threatening to bury the animal alive. As the sun began to set, the men stopped, dripping with sweat and exhausted. The neighbors looked down into the dark pit, then turned to the farmer. "We have tried everything," one neighbor said. "The animal is too heavy, and the well is a dangerous death trap for our children. Bury him in the well. That is the only way." The farmer looked down into the darkness. The donkey looked back up, his eyes begging for help. The farmer felt a tight knot in his throat. Looking at the crumbling stone, he realized they were completely out of options. With a heavy heart and tears in his eyes, he slowly nodded. The neighbors picked up their shovels. They dug into the earth and threw the first loads of soil into the well. When the heavy earth hit the donkey's back, the animal let out a piercing, heartbroken cry. It wasn't just the pain of the dirt and stones, it was the sting of betrayal. Shovelful after shovelful fell into the pit, reopening old scars and cutting deep into his skin. The donkey cried louder, his body bleeding from the sharp rocks, but nobody stopped. Then suddenly the crying stopped. A heavy silence fell over the well. The farmer, terrified, shouted, "Stop! Stop shoveling!" He leaned over the crumbling edge and looked down, expecting to see a grave. Instead, he saw something incredible. Every time a heavy clod of dirt landed on the donkey's back, the old animal did something simple. He shook it off, and he took a step up. Another load of earth, along with sharp stones, fell on his shoulders, hitting his open wounds. But the donkey just shook his body. The dirt fell to his feet, and he stepped on top of it. He didn't let the weight break his spirit. He turned the burial into a floor. The farmer's eyes widened in disbelief. "Keep shoveling!" he yelled to the neighbors, his voice now filled with a sudden, wild hope. Keep throwing the dirt! The men fell into a rhythm. Scoop, throw, shake, step. The donkey's legs were tired and his fresh wounds ached with every movement, but he refused to stay down. What was meant to bury him was slowly, inch by inch, lifting him out of the darkness. The dark pit grew shallower. The donkey's head finally reached the warm evening sunlight. With one last tired push of strength, the old donkey put his front legs firmly on the edge of the well. He pulled himself up and walked out into the open field. The neighbors dropped their shovels, cheering in amazement. The farmer fell to his knees, throwing his arms around his old friend's dusty neck, weeping tears of pure joy. Life will always throw dirt at you. People will criticize you, rejections will cover you, and failures will try to bury you alive in the dark. In those moments, you have two choices. You can let the weight crush you, or you can shake it off and take a step up. No one is coming to pull you out of your darkest wells. Your rescue is an inside job. Every single wound you carry from your past is not an excuse to give up. It is proof that you survived. Remember, the very hardship that is meant to bury you can become the exact foundation you stand on to rise. Don't carry the dirt. Step on your wounds, step on the pain, and keep climbing. If this story touched your heart, type "I will rise" in the comments. Don't forget to like, share, and join us for more powerful stories that will change the way you see life.